Now let's start here with the form of the simple present. Okay. Remember that in the simple present, we have two forms. We have the base form and we have the as form. Okay, what is the difference? The base form we use with I, you, we, they, and all the plural subjects. And the as form we use with he, she, it, which is the third person singular, and the singular subject. Okay, let's read about that. Carlos, can you read the first explanation and the examples, please?
Okay. The explanation. We use the base form of the verb with you, with, they, and plural subjects. No. Note, people is plural. Examples. I like English. You know Mandarin. We come from China. The people of Iran speak Farsi.
Very good. This is important, guys. Remember that people is plural, okay? We don't say persons of Iran. Person is singular, one. Plural or person is people, okay? This is the plural. Don't forget. So whenever you see this word people, you use the base form because it's plural. The people of Iran speak. Okay. Now, Andrea, can you read the second one?
Yes, teacher. We use the S form with he, she, it, and singular subjects. Examples, Timothy lives in New York. He studies languages. And we use the S form with subjects, beginning with every and no. Every language shows something about the culture. No one in this class speaks Ojibwe. Note, family is singular. Timothy's family lives in New York.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you, Andrea. So besides the case that I told you guys, the third person singular and the singular subjects, we also use the S form with subjects beginning with every and no, everyone, no one, every person, every, okay, every something. We use the S form, okay, it's singular, and also no. No one here, no one can speak Chinese here, for example, okay? So with no and every. And also family. Family is singular. So I know that when we talk about family, we have a lot of people in a family, but when we say the word family, it's a unit, okay? So my family is big, okay? A singular. So Timothy family lives in New York. And then we have one more here. Irene, can you read the explanation and the examples?
We can follow many main verbs with an infinitive. Timothy likes to learn language.
Okay, very good. Now, some verbs like need, want, we use a verb in the infinitive after them. We're going to talk better about this, but it's just for you to know. So for example, if you say that Timothy likes, if you want to use a verb, you're going to use the infinitive. What is the infinitive? When you have to. So he likes to learn. Okay, I need to call my mother. Okay, need to, you needed to. So you use the infinitive verb after some verbs, okay? Now, does anyone have questions in the first part of the explanation?
No.
No? Okay. So we have here two patterns. We have the first pattern with the base form. So how do we make statements in the base form? Yes, no questions, WH questions. Let's see. Anna, can you read the first part here, the first patterns?
Yes. Notice the 7 patterns with the base form. Affirmative Affirmative statement. You speak Urdu. Negative statement. You don't speak Hindi. Yes, no question. Do you speak Farsi? Short answer. Yes, I do. WH question. Where do people speak Urdu? Negative. WH question. Why don't you speak Hindi? Subject question. How many people speak Hindi?
Very good. Okay, very good. So here we have the statements just in the base form. Notice something. If this is the base form, we are going to use don't. The auxiliary that we have is don't. Well, do, not, or in the question, do. Okay, yes, I do. No, I don't. We use this. So in all these cases here, I, you, we, they, and plural subject, the auxiliary is do. Okay, like this. But in the as form, we don't use do, we use does. It's a different auxiliary. Now, Marjorie, can you read the second group of patterns, please?
Yes. Notice these 7 patterns with the S form. With the S form. Affirmative statement, Timothy studies Farsi. Negative statement, he doesn't study Spanish. Yes, no question, does he study French? Short answer, yes, he does. WH question, where does he study French? Negative negative question, why doesn't he study Spanish? Subject question, who studies Spanish?
Perfect. So as you could see, here we use the auxiliary does. So in the negative, doesn't, question does. But notice this, if you use the auxiliary, the verb goes back to the base form. For example, Timothy studies, right? Because it's third person, so Timothy studies. But if I use doesn't in the negative, I'm going to say he doesn't study Spanish. So you can see that the verb is back to the base form because I already have the auxiliary, okay? And the same thing in the question. Does he study French? Okay, don't forget about that. I know that this is simple, but sometimes we forget. So it's important to review. We have the notes here. Let's see what they say. Pedro, can you read the first note?
Yes. Have has an irregular S form. I have a language dictionary. Timothy has many language dictionaries.
Very good. So we don't say haves, we say has. You guys know this. The has is the irregular form for have. Okay, third person. Now, second note, Andrea.
The S form of go is goes. The pronunciation is goes. We go to college. My sister goes to high school.
Very good. Can you read number 3 too? It's the same.
Okay. The S form of do is those. The pronunciation is those. You do your homework at home. She does her homework at the library.
Library. Okay, very good. So do and go, they have a similar S form. We add ES, okay? And we say goes and does. We go to college, my sister goes, okay, goes. And does. So the pronunciation of it's a little bit different, goes, does, even though they are written in a similar way, okay? We have the use of the present perfect. Okay, let's see. German, hello, German.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning. Can you read here the first explanation in the example?
Sure. Explanation. We use the simple present with facts, general truths, habits, and customs. Examples. Timothy speaks 20 languages. He loves language, but he doesn't like math.
Perfect. Okay. If you want to state a fact, for example, humans have 2 arms, okay? Or a habit, he goes to gym every week, okay? Every day, 3 times a day, or 3 times a week, sorry. Customs, likes and dislikes, I love chocolate. All of this, we use the simple present, okay? Simple present to talk about these. And something else. Let's see, Carlos, can you read the next one?
We use the simple present with regular activities and repeated actions. Timothy often practices with native speakers. He always tries to learn new things. Does he ever make videos? How often does he use a dictionary?
Very good. Perfect, Carlos. So regular activities and repeated actions. Remember when we talked about how often or do you ever, all these questions when you say, oh, I always do that. I never wake up late. Okay, these are, these frequency words, these adverbs are used in the simple present. Okay, I never visit my family, for example, or I sometimes work until late. Okay, all these frequency words, we use them in the simple present. We still have notes and grammar in use. Let's see, let's work. Anna, first note, please.
Okay, the frequency adverbs are always, almost, always, usually, generally, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, hardly ever, almost never, not ever, and never. Frequency adverbs usually come after the verb be on before other verbs.
Can you read the 2 examples, please?
Yes. Timothy is always interested in language. He sometimes finds native speakers to talk to.
Very good. This is really important, the position of the frequency word. So you have them here. Okay, all of these are the frequency adverbs. You guys remember. And where do we put them in a sentence? If we have the verb be, they usually come after the verb be. Okay. If we have another verb like this, finds, they usually come before the verb. Okay, he sometimes finds. Timothy is always interested. He sometimes finds. So this is the correct position. We have some exceptions, but we'll see. Irene, can you read the second note?
Yes. We can put sometimes at the beginning of a sentence too. Sometimes he finds a native speaker to talk to.
Very good. So other than before the main verb, we can use sometimes at the beginning of a sentence. It's the same sentence. He sometimes finds native speakers. Sometimes he finds native speakers. You can say both ways. They are both correct. Okay. And then we have the grammar in use. Valeria, hello.
Grammar in use. Seldom, rarely, hardly ever, and almost never have similar meanings. Seldom and rarely are more formal. Hardly ever and almost never are more common in a conversation and informal writing. Do you ever speak English with your parents? No, I almost never do. Or no, I hardly ever do.
Very good. So these 4 words here, these 4 adverbs, are the same or similar in meaning. Seldom, rarely, hardly ever, and almost never. The only thing is that seldom and rarely are more formal. And if you are in a conversation or you are writing something informal, it's more common to use hardly ever or almost never. Okay, no, I almost never do, or I hardly ever do. Okay, these are more informal.